Hello YouTube, this is Morgan Airspeed Prime here with my next Boruto anime review. This one is going to be for episode 136, and this one is called Crossing Time. So this is the end of this time travel arc here. We got it all wrapped up in this episode, and I think it's pretty fair to say that this arc really didn't do what it perhaps could have. The second in this episode, Jiraiya jumped in to explain everything away to Sakura, you knew that they weren't going to do anything particularly interesting in the episode. Now, to be fair, I think once they got back, they did some nice enough stuff. I thought the Sasuke Naruto scene was good, and then the Boruto Naruto scene was pretty well done, as was, I think, the Boruto Hinata scene. So that was all fine. But I think they should have just committed to doing like, okay, Naruto and Sakura figure out that, Sasuke is Sasuke, Boruto is Naruto's son, and get their reactions to that. Have them be shocked for that little bit until, as Jiraiya, very kind of, astutely figures out and realizes that these memories have to be erased. They can't know the ending of their story. You do what you do here in that you erase their memories. And because you erase their memories, why was there that fear necessarily of it being revealed? Especially if it was just Sakura. In that, Sasuke could have just erased her memories straight away. But you could have given us that moment of, very interesting moment of her realizing it is him. And that the letter was actually them talking about their child. That would have been very nice to see. Similarly, Naruto's reaction to realizing Boruto is his son, that he does become Hokage eventually. That would have been very, very cool. Because again, you're immediately erasing their memories. But it was a fun scene, I guess, just seeing Jiraiya go all out, or just calling them true fans of Make Out Paradise, and they're following me, and that's why they know things about the people around me, and Sasuke is forced to admit that, yes, that is the truth, and this creeps Sakura out enough that she completely goes off the trail. So, that's fine, I guess, it was fun, but was it worth doing that scene over what you potentially could have done? I don't really think so. And then pretty much after that, it is just the sort of goodbye scene. They go to leave. The turtle is revealed to have had some chakra. His chakra was restored from some of the excess that Naruto had, and he basically just reveals that okay, the time traveling Otsutsuki turtle thing is going to go off on its own. They kind of teach it about what free will is, and it's going to do its own thing, figure out its own way about finding a path for itself. So it takes that out of the picture from here on out, because it is now, I suppose, effectively canon that there is a time travel device in Naruto, and you can't really just keep that around forever. So it going on its own journey gets that out of the picture. I assume they're going to reveal, that I assume the reveal was meant to be that this was a very rare device. There's maybe only a handful of these things, so this one going away like this means there's not going to be any timeline threats coming anytime soon. But it's there if you absolutely need to use it. But I doubt they'll overly want to do time travel-y stuff, because it can make a lot of stuff feel sort of redundant, in that anything that happens we can just reverse time to fix it. So I'm more or less assuming that's probably the last we'll see of that time traveling turtle. And then the rest of the episode is pretty much just that they go back, and you have the typical things of just before they left, Naruto gave Boruto a present, and when they get back it's revealed that this was just, he gave him a lot of those ramen cups. And it's a fun moment right at the end where Naruto and Boruto share that super special, ramen that they don't really make anymore. So it's an amazing treat for Naruto. It's this thing that he knows could only have come from that era, and they just share the thing of they have different tastes in ramen, but they ultimately do like ramen. It's just that Boruto likes to put lots of weird stuff in it, whereas Naruto prefers more of a pure ramen, and it's just getting across the difference, but also the similarity. that Boruto has come to from meeting a younger Naruto, appreciate him all the more. That's what the entirety of that Boruto Hinata scene was about. It was about him being able to look at those pictures from the past and realize that, he did have this tough childhood, but the fact that he can be so strong at this point in time is very telling. He sees exactly where that came from, and so you just have Hinata noting that, like, he's always been this way, and that is testament to his character that he didn't let that past get him down, and Boruto can now really respect that. And the mention of, like, he now has more context about Neji, so that was a nice little comment to be made there. And yeah, like, the other scene was Naruto and Sasuke talking. So Sasuke, of course, reveals to Naruto the full extent of everything that happened. So Naruto is aware that they traveled back in time, but Naruto confirms that after asking everyone, none of them have, like, memories of, like, having met, like, an older Sasuke years ago or anything like that. So it basically confers to us that, like, yes, Sasuke was very, very thorough in everything that he did. The only thing in the entire, like, arc that they seem to imply that was maybe forgotten about was Denki's father. They seem to, like, actually at this point confirm that that's probably one of the only things that's, like, transitioned over between that was, like, revealed because of this. Like, time travel actually meddled with stuff, and that the origin of the whole Thunder Train idea actually ends up coming from Boruto going back in time. I think that's what the implication was. Like, they obviously didn't have Denki's father overly, like, react to seeing Boruto, but I think very clearly the idea that Boruto walked past them was meant to suggest that he doesn't quite remember the details at this point, but that's the one connection you have to make, because they said that you are just overheard basically the idea being said out loud on the street, and that's why you go out on these walks every so often, and then Boruto walks right by. So that was at least something kind of cool and interesting, in that, like, it doesn't really affect the timeline at all. It's just like there's now Boruto is technically the inspiration for the Thunder Train, whereas in the past it was probably just some, like you said, some idea that he heard from a random person, but it's effectively the exact same thing, so they didn't really change much. And yeah, you had Sasuke going back home. Nice little scene with Sakura where he just kind of thanks her for everything, and it's more or less this idea of just, like, you healed me in the past, just thank you for everything. Because he does realize, like, that's the thing with Sasuke, is that, like, he over the course of this arc realized that, like, at the time where he turned his back on the village, this is what was happening back at the village. Like, everyone was still wanting to get him back, and he sees that now clearly, super clearly. They didn't go overly in on it because of the type of character that Sasuke is, but you can tell it was a nice experience for him to see Naruto's dedication to getting him back, Sakura's dedication to getting him back, even, like, mentions from the likes of, like, Shikamaru and stuff like that about it. It was worthwhile in a way for him to see all of that happening. So the other thing they confirm is that they basically set up what is, like, going to be happening soon, of just, like, Sasuke is now going to check out the Kaguya ruins, which is actually a kind of canon plot point that we're kind of waiting to get to. We know that we at least got a couple of kind of more kind of one-shot episodes. I don't really have a clue when we're actually getting back to canon content, but we'll see that as we go along. Next week's episode looks like it's going to be about the introduction of a samurai character to replace Sumire on her team. So I actually like that, because obviously that's one of the manga plot points that we had, that the anime only kind of somewhat recently got around to sort of getting that idea across, that Sumire is going into the sort of the ninja technology sort of field, and so she's not going to be like a ninja anymore. And so there is a need to fill in a slot on that team, on Hanabi's team, so we're actually getting a samurai character introduced. That seems really, really cool. If I don't know if it's going to be Mifune or, like, Mifune's son, or what exact way they're going to go about doing it, but I like that. I like that they're getting across, like, the samurai were sort of a kind of later introduction into Naruto. they didn't go into them too much, like early on, especially. So I like the idea of continuing that on the alliance between ninja and samurai. So why not samurai on a ninja team? Cool idea. It may not be the greatest episode, but new character and more samurai stuff seems pretty great to me. But yeah, that's my thoughts on this episode. The arc overall, I think, still had some enjoyable moments throughout. It wasn't like terrible, but definitely I think it could have been so much better. They could have done the whole Urashiki, the importance of him, much better. They could have done the whole time travel thing and have more interesting moments come out of it. That's probably the biggest thing here. It's just that we've been waiting to see how they'd handle in the anime Urashiki for so long, and it felt like they just did it in the most simple way possible, and nothing really came of it. In that, the most comment at the end of the episode was like Naruto saying that, like, "Oh, guess that means every Otsutsuki that we've encountered has been defeated." Yeah, huh? So, just getting across the idea that, okay, Urashiki was introduced, but he wasn't that important, really. So, we'll see what happens from here on out as they... Hopefully the anime gets into the more important Otsutsuki stuff that's covered in the manga sooner rather than later, but we'll have to wait for that. So yeah, that's my thoughts on the episode. In the comments, let me know what your thoughts were, but that's been the video. Thanks for watching, and bye.